The South African Communist Party has been pushing for the reconfiguration of the Tripartite Alliance, saying that the ANC can no longer lead the alliance alone, arguing that decisions cannot be taken by one organization only when it is a tripartite alliance of three different organizations. If you were to include SANCO, it would be four. That would be the Congress of African Trade Unions, COSATU, the African National Congress, the SACP, the South African Communist Party, and SANCO. But of late, ANC National Chairperson Gwede Mantashe and the ANC's National Executive Committee have said that they are not inclined to reconfigure the Tripartite Alliance in the manner that the South African Communist Party is agitating for. We are now joined by the SACP's General Secretary, Mapaila. Mr. Mapaila, the reconfiguration of the alliance, it's not a new debate, but this time around, the recent National Executive Committee of the ANC, which you were meant to address, but unfortunately couldn't, as we were told you were traveling to China to meet with the CPC. The NEC says they've rejected the proposal of the SACP of the reconfiguration of the alliance in its current form and shape. Where does the SACP stand when it comes to this matter of the reconfiguration of the alliance?
Well, thank you very much. Firstly, is that the reconfiguration of the alliance is an irreversible consequence. If we were to consolidate the National Democratic Revolution, that is our struggle to end poverty in this country, to end racism and sexism, and create a prosperous South Africa based on the values of democracy and non-racialism and non-sexism, as well as to fight against exploitation of capital over the people of this country, or the stranglehold of capital over our economy. That makes it difficult for us to have a society of equals in all respects, particularly from an economic standpoint, where, for instance, the majority are subservient to a minority that controls the economy. So this is the core of the National Democratic Revolution, or what we characterize as National Democratic Revolution. And therefore, all of us are committed to this program. At the same time, the alliance forces, which are political forces organized together, the party and the ANC as political organizations, the COSATU as a trade union movement, but committed to a socialist outcome of our society, the end exploitation of workers, as well as a civic movement that is committed to a radical change of the economic setup in our communities. All of us continues to believe that our strength in unity can accelerate the transformation of our country. But this have been slowed down over the last 3 decades, if you like. That we started at a good pace of transformation of our country, and we slowed down quite sharply, almost like a sudden break in the implementation of our transformation agenda. We have seen many reversals, and largely this has been as a consequence of the subjective factor in the revolution, that is the leadership question, the failure of leadership to be decisive at critical moments, and therefore justification by this failure of leadership to outside forces. Of course, these forces are important to the extent that they've impeded us to make the necessary progress. For instance, the international balance of forces, the reality of how the international community or the global economy impacts on our economy. But if you look at all successful economies over the world, they have relied largely on themselves, on responding to the social needs before they go outside. We have given up state-owned entities, which we regard as important instruments for driving national development and even developing what we call productive forces, that is the capacity for an economy to function and to create jobs and to be independent. We have decided to become, without comprehensive discussion about this, because we have been proposing alternatives to these questions, we have decided to become a procurement state, a state that buys. And a state that cannot produce anything. We are regarded as the most industrialized country on the African continent, a title that we no longer deserve.